Hello, YouTube. This is Ben Gessel. Um, this is it's about a little bit after 11 p.m. Saturday, July 22nd, 2016. I believe this is my seventh video for YouTube. For this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit more in depth regarding some of the dreams I've had because I think Um, this is one of the subjects that many folks out there are very curious about, and for a number of reasons. Um, number of reasons. So I want to mention a few things just at the outset um, regarding uh, why I'm willing to go into this subject a bit more. Um, most people wouldn't. What I'm emphasizing again is the um, some of the um, fuel behind some of my thought processes and imaginatively and otherwise. And one, my hope is that some of this can serve as inspiration for any kind of artistic projects, imaginative projects. I would hope that nobody out there ever um, want ever. I would hope that nobody ever lifts um, completely anything that I am sharing here that's unethical and not right ever. I mean, it's these are my dreams, and I would I'm sharing those things I think that would be a benefit to everybody out there, and um, so definitely you can think about certain ideas, adopt them to however you want to, but I just be considerate, please. Okay, that's all I'm asking. So, and again, I'm emphasizing the imaginative side of this kind of thing. Um, so, because in an earlier video, I did discuss this kind of thing a little bit more broadly, but now I'm going to go a little bit more in depth regarding my own psyche in when I was a boy and on. So, sharing a few dreams here. Um, one, there's a number of different kinds of dreams. What you might think of first when you think of dreams are different themes like flying or being chased or falling or drowning. I would. I'm just going to go with. Well, you'll see. You'll see kind of how I'm structuring this video. The first dream I'll share with you here. These first dreams are a bit more, a little darker, and then we're gonna get to some brighter stuff, happier stuff here in a bit. Um, so, uh, I was in. This was when I was a boy. Can't remember really how old specifically. I was in some kind of old building, a house of some sort. It was a larger house, and I was in the basement. I think of that house, and there were a lot of older kinds of furniture and figurines, old things. I don't know what they were. Old clocks, old cat-like porcelain kinds of figurines, all over the place. All this kind of stuff. It wasn't cluttered. It was just very old. It felt very old. And I was in. I can't remember if I was in bed or if I was just sitting on a bed or sitting in a chair of some sort, or couch or whatever. But there were some older folks all around me. Um, they were in beds, so they were doing various things. And some of them actually looked like they might have been ghosts, but were definitely human looking. But the overall feel, the overall, uh, they were older folks, generally speaking, and I had the feeling that actually they knew me and actually knew them somehow. That's a big that's a big thing. That doesn't happen very often. So I actually felt like I already knew them, and they knew me. It was a very comfortable feeling in that room, very comfortable, special really. And so um, uh, basically, there was a window I could see into another room where there were some other folks, older folks generally, that were kind of in this. They were walking single file toward some direction, and those folks generally did not. It did not feel like they were as good of folks. They're darker, more soulless, not as kind, not as cheerful, very dark, very empty, uh, very sinful kinds of beings, generally speaking. Um, all kinds, but for the most part, that was more the feeling I got as I remember it. So, there was music playing in that room that was eerie, dark, had this ongoing beat that was kind of almost like a dread something. It was just not a good, it was a darker feeling in that room. In the room I was in, they were listening to, I don't know, Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, more upbeat stuff and more peaceful stuff. I think music that was more soothing, and some of it did seem a little bit like some of the stuff that some of my ancestors might listen to. In fact, a lot more. Um, so and yeah. Anyway, I can't remember too much after that, but a lot of the colors in that dream were very gray green. Of course, brown furniture. Um, old lamps, like just the cast iron old lamps. I'm talking turn of the century and earlier, old lamps inside the room. And also, the room did feel a little bit like some kind of mortuary, but the room I was in felt a little bit brighter, not dark. Just a room where there's a lot of old folks again. So another dream I've had involved being in some kind of urban environment with this guy that kept following me around. It was some dude. I'm pretty sure it was a guy, but he had a very gaunt uh, face, very slim figure. So he almost looked almost like a woman. He didn't have any facial hair. He was very slender, but um, still, I think he's definitely a guy, and he had this. He had glasses on, or black glasses, or something. I never really saw his eyes, but something about him just made me very frightened. He was, I don't know. I was a bit younger. I can't remember again how old I was. He had black hair. You might think that this kind of character might resemble some, not necessarily the Joker, but some figure that's like the scary mime type folks. Nah, yes and no. This guy, um, similar but different. But he kept following me around, no matter where I went. Um, he was always just looking. I felt like he was looking, watching me, following me around. So, but he was always keeping his distance from me. But again, I didn't want to. There's something very unsettling about him, and so it was just unnerving how no matter where I went, there he was. But he was always just kind of looking at me out of the corner of his eye, grinning, and the way he was grinning was very, yeah, it was very scary, dark. Whatever it was bad. So anyway, a little bit of nightmare there. Um, And of course, I've had dreams that where I know that they've been influenced by TV and movies and video games. One dream that involved trying to get away from this giant bird that was following me around. Something like out of the Elder Scrolls and Morrowind. Those stupid birds that kept following you around. If you ever played that game, just yeah. So I've had those kinds of dreams. Anyway, so I had, of course, I've had dreams of all kinds of fantasy creatures, dragons, and things. Um, Another one of my dreams, a little bit darker. This was when I was very young, and I was definitely, it was very much a nightmare, and involved some being thrown in some kind of dungeon or prison. It was a prison. But it was like a wooden prison. It was like dirt or straw floor. It was underground in some cave, and the gate was wood, but it was strong kind of wood, maybe iron, a wooden iron. So I was thrown in this pit, and it wasn't really very tall. It wasn't very high, so I had to kind of crouch down a little bit. One of my brothers, was taken, and he was kind of. This is the really crazy part of the dream. He was kind of being. I can't remember exactly what, but the part that scared me the most was that by this dream he was being hurt in some way, and I was trying to get out of that dungeon. I was trying to get out of that prison to protect him, but I couldn't. And so yeah, that was a very intense dream. And these creatures were something along between a horned demon of some sort and maybe an ogre like creature. These guys are bad. And there was fire. It was very much a fiery cave kind of place. And again, I've tried to put that out of my mind, but that was one of my more vivid nightmares when I was younger. Something out of a movie like Legend or something out of the Lord of the Rings. I'm glad my brothers are all doing fine. So nothing happened that I was very, yeah, it was a very, very unpleasant dream for sure. Um, I've also, of course, had the kind of dream where you have a lot of folks seem to have this dream where something is climbing up the stairs, sometimes very slowly with something very, very big, and heavy, and strong, or something quicker and that sort of thing with either cackling or booming, deeper voice. So yeah, I've had the ogre dreams. Kind of dream where something really big enters your room. It's coming up the stairs and you're scared to death. This thing enters your room. It's like 7 feet tall, as tall as the ceiling, and it's kind of laughing, very deep bass voice, contrabass, very very deep voice, and has a big club. And then I always managed to wake up before it got to me. So of course that was when I was younger. I've had those dreams as well. They're not fun, but they're generally not quite as intense as. So then I've also had the dreams where I was not able to move. I was in some kind of neighborhood. My family and some relatives were heading into some house, and I was not able to follow them, and it was getting darker. And I tried to wake up before. I had a feeling like something really scary was going to happen, so I woke up before anything happened. So associated with that was this idea of being in some kind of theater or home. I think I was in some kind of movie theater, and I was watching some kind of cartoon of some sort, something a little bit along the lines of something that you might see at, of course, the opening credits to Disney's Robin Hood, the animated movie they had with the animals that would just cross the screen. And so in my dream, it was something similar to that, but the longer it progressed, the more that the animals became more carnivorous, larger, stronger, more dangerous looking, and certainly more evil looking. And it's getting to the point where I was getting a little bit like, what's going to happen here? So I tried to wake up, of course, and I did. But yeah, I've had lots of cartoon esque kinds of dreams as well. Um, I certainly had dreams involving. Um, I'll get into this maybe a little bit later, but very loud noises really bothered me when I was younger. Um, yeah, again, some dreams I'll maybe mention down the road, perhaps. But I had one dream, for instance, and it seems a bit like Pac-Man when I was a boy, where I was being chased by some white hot, or just extremely hot, like a poker, but it wasn't a poker. It was some kind of dot that was extremely hot. I felt it was white and it was very very bright. You couldn't look at it, and it was chasing me throughout this game. And I was kind of like Pac-Man, and that thing was some kind of enemy or some sort. And so I was just trying to get away from it, and it got really close to me on occasion. I literally thought in the stream I was actually going to die if that thing caught up to me, and so that was quite intense. Um, of course, I've had like you guys. I'm sure I've had drowning dreams, falling dreams before. Um, so getting into some a little more comforting or nicer dreams. I've had dreams where flying dreams where I was trying to get somewhere, and I remember having a hard time getting. Actually, these are somewhat more recent dreams involving flying. I was trying to just go somewhere else. I remember feeling very stuck, very limited in my life, and I was trying to go somewhere. And the telephone poles, the phone lines, the power lines, everything, just power lines, electrical lines, that sort of thing that you see all the time, on the streets. There was a bunch of them, and they were going really high, and they were multi-layered, and I was trying to get by those, but it seemed like when I was flying, trying to get through some of them, it was very hard because they're so close together, and I was scared of touching them, at least touching even two of them, or that all that train of thought. So um, yeah, I've had some of those kinds of dreams. I kept bumping into these cables, no matter where I went. So let's see. A few other dreams here I'll share with you guys. That hopefully it wouldn't try to keep this not too long, but so I was in a place that wasn't especially joyful, happy. Wasn't most people? I was in a place underground where most people were very depressed and sad and bored and didn't think very highly of themselves and didn't think very highly of very many things at all, and they just were just kind of down on everything, and it was pervasive kind of feeling in this place, and of course you could probably guess the coloring in this place. It was underground. It was a lot of blues, uh, well, a lot of just darker, dreary kind of colors, blue grays, and so some of us are trying to, just hold on to whatever we can to try to maintain some kind of hope for life. And there's some people. I decided, what? I'm tired of this place. If nobody wants to be, if the environment is just really depressing and nobody wants to be happier, I'm just gonna, leave, and I'm gonna bring some people with me that want to leave too. And so we left, and then we started traveling through all these tunnels and things. And of course, some of the tunnels were different colors, of course, but for the most part, we're talking in blues and greens and grays and blue grays and gray greens and all darker colors. And so some of the tunnels were more depressing feeling, others were a little bit more intriguing, or the feeling of those places. I don't know if it was music. It was music I was hearing in my dream, but some of the people I encountered were a little bit more friendly or kind or thoughtful, mellow, maybe more mellow personalities. And so um, a lot of uh, some kind of, not brick, but some kind of block, like a lot of blue blocks that were just kind of made these tunnels underground, blue and dark blue, and almost like something that you would like a kind of toy, some kind of building blocks that I used when I was younger, like in first grade, second grade, something similar in appearance, just make them a lot bigger. And you have the you get the kind of idea of what these tunnels looked like a little bit. But solid colors, solid darker colors, generally cooler colors. So even a purple tunnel here and there. But anyway, so um, eventually we get to more colorful places, or places that had more interesting things to do, fun things to do. And bit by bit, yeah, I encountered other folks that were a bit more upbeat, or just more energy about life, doing whatever things. And so some of the people in my group became more arrogant, and they forgot about how hard life was when they were in this other place. I think they split up from the group I wanted to be with. I decided to be more with people that were more grateful for just being in a happier place, or not being in that depressing place as much anymore. And I can't remember what happened much after that, but there's another something to that kind of dream. It stuck with me a little bit. Um, so I've had the kind of dream, of course, where I always was thinking that the grass was greener somewhere else, kind of like trying to thought, or what didn't I get to do? And anytime that when you're a kid and you go on a field trip to school field trip, you're gonna get some of this kind of thing, or any kind of trip. Even if it's a camping trip, or big camping trip, something that's a bit more grandiose, you're gonna get something like this: amusement park, um, bigger park, zoo, that sort of thing. So, so in this dream, I'm in a park of some sort. Not quite a amusement park, not quite a theme park, not quite a conventional park, not a campsite. Definitely not a campsite. Not the forest. But it's some sort of school trip, or it's a field trip at least. And no matter where I went in this dream, who I was with, or what I ate or drank, it never seemed to be the kind of people or the kind of experience that I wanted. The kids were mostly too dull, too boring, or too simple-minded, too or too cruel. Uh, some of them were just kept saying very unkind kinds of things. Um, but they kept sticking around me. They wouldn't go away. Some folks are a little bit annoying, and those people that I wanted to spend time with were either trying to stick to me like glue. Thank goodness for them. That some of those folks were actually really cool. A few of those folks, and there were other folks that were more admirable sorts of folks I liked, but they sometimes wanted to uh, hang out or spend more time with other kids, and I couldn't talk to them about anything really very much more meaningful to me, because I couldn't. They seemed like they were just somewhere else in their minds. So yeah, that wasn't the best feeling in the world. Feeling you don't want to ever feel overlooked, like you're not as cool, not as liked, not as likable, whatever. It's not a good feeling. Something a lot of folks go through, more or less. And so or they just, you know. So, and there's also, of course, the feeling, aside from all that, there's a feeling that I was missing out on the tastiest food, the best food, the best candy, uh, best tasting whatever. The and Also, of course, it goes without saying, the most the funnest rides, the best attractions, the most exciting things, the most curiosity provoking things. I was missing out on all the best stuff because of some reason, maybe the folks I was with, they just were going very slow. They were physically kind of slower, or there's all these things that are getting in the way, obstacles, people, annoying people. Um, if I was going someplace that I wanted to go to, someone might say, "Oh, it's time to go home." That kind of thing. Yeah, I know a lot of people out there are very familiar with that. That kind of thing. That happens a lot. Oh, time to go home. Yeah, yeah. When you're 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, or, you know, even a bit older. Well, that we know what that feeling feels like. Time to go home. You know. So so that essentially, I felt like I was eating kind of like I was finding all of the caramel colored covered or the chocolate covered apples, or caramel apples, what do you call them? But just the peanut stalls, the popcorn stalls, and I was not finding the razzleberries, the really cool, really awesome candy shops, or sort of thing. And yeah, just merry-go-round, Ferris wheel, not really too many coasters, no, not too many thrill rides, nothing like that. that kind of that kind of dream. Of course, I have had dreams before where I was finally able to feel like I was creating things on the fly when I was dreaming. So actually, I started creating an amusement park from scratch. It's this big giant lawn, green lawn, just like in some kind of roller coaster game out there. Just this giant green lawn. I was just creating coasters. I just and other things. There was fountains wherever I went, and it was actually on ground level, going around just creating stuff. And there are people that are coming into the park, and they're just having a great time. That was a fun dream. That was a fun dream. Designing a 200-foot tall water slide, or 300-foot tall, and just being very dangerous, but somehow I was able to get down in one piece. Um, of course, I had lots of flying dreams. That I already mentioned that. It can be more pleasant or more frightening, or just not the greatest dreams in the world. But I have had the kinds of dreams before that are very special. Uh, like say you're in a. I was in one of my dreams. I was just in this very beautiful village, just surrounded by people that were genuinely very happy and good people. None of them acted. Um, none of them chided anyone for silly behaviors. Well, just nobody was. Um, Nobody was ill-tempered. Nobody was cranky. Not really. That was the general feeling was everybody's your friend, and um, there was a lot of singing in the village, and a lot of it was very, very beautiful. And my family was there, and it was the kind of dream where I didn't want to wake up. And I don't have those dreams. I have those dreams here and there, but it's hard to explain it fully because it was just the kind of feeling in that dream was a little different. It was much bigger, much more. It was just a special kind of dream. And then getting back to maybe a few other sorts of dreams that are maybe harder to place, maybe unsettling, maybe less so. Um, there was one dream where there was this. No matter where I went, it was there was this giant building. It was more spread out than it was high, It was in kind of big city, and it's about 4 to 5 stories tall, and it was a little kind of wound around a lot. It was just a big, big building. And I think it was more on the outside of the building. Some part of the dream I was inside, some part was outside. And it was at night, so it was mostly talking about dark blues, green grays, green blues. Again, those kinds of darker and more depressing kinds of colors. And I had a gloomy feeling about this place. Everybody in this building, everybody outside this building, just was kind of walking around in this funk of some sort, and um, everybody had what we call it realistic thoughts. By being realistic, they were anything I said that was more. I was trying to be more upbeat or positive or whatever. They'd say I wasn't being very realistic. That I needed to be more realistic, or something like along those lines. Be realistic is this evil, bad, selfish world we live in, or don't you have some place you have to be? Um, what are you doing? Here. That kind of train of thought. Everybody walking around with their heads in newspapers, or these just very serious-looking people. Everybody's very, very serious, and everybody's just kind of in this funk. And it felt a little bit like the movie Dark City, but it was not quite as gray black. It was more just blues, dark blues, dark greens with little lampposts here and there outside. I think eventually I was able to find some way to get away because this building was so big that no matter where I went, this building kept following me. It was almost like it was following me, and it was so big. And eventually I got away from it, and it felt like I was in a different kind of place. But yeah, it was an odd dream. Another dream, I was kind of more in a suburban area, but I was next to this hotel, but it was more like an apartment where people could stay at and rent for longer, like months and things. But it was, or maybe a high-rise condo of some sort. But it was in the middle of a forest. It was in the middle of at least a semi suburban type area, and it was on this hill. There was a sloping hill coming down with this 2-lane street going up, a little bit steeper hill, and this is just a part of a dream I remembered. But it was anyway. The atmosphere of this place, it felt a little bit like it was just there was a mix of people in this building that were well, you had some less ethical types. You had some more lascivious types of people, along with people that were a little bit kinder, a little bit nicer, but just materialistic, very concerned with money and things. And they all thought pretty highly of themselves, and I was like, this is a beautiful place, but I just don't want to really hang it. I don't want to be here. And so I think I remember just going somewhere else. So again, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these kinds of dreams, because this is just again tip of the iceberg of some of the, of course it's tip of the iceberg of many dreams I've had over time, um, and hopefully there's some ideas that can either spark aesthetic or imagine anything in the arts, again anything creative that you found useful. I don't want anybody to again, these are my dreams, and I am sharing them freely. And so, if I want you guys to get ideas, get some new ideas from these kinds of things. But I don't like the idea of anyone just straight up taking everything and just calling it their own. It's very easy to do these days. It's something I have no patience for. Of course, you can be less ethical, but eventually I'll know who you are, and we'll know what happened. We'll know what happened there. So use this to come up with some of your own ideas. Use some of these ideas to come up with your own ideas, by all means. if you want, but don't just call it your own. I guess it's not. These are my dreams, and I'm just wanting to let you guys know some of these things. Um, hopefully this is useful to you guys, helpful, also enjoyable. Feel free to leave comments below, and I will catch you guys later. All right, take care.